So I was a pretty gung-ho Marine. And then we went to California Death Valley for infamous desert warfare training. The finale of this live training is all live fire with tanks and jets and helicopters and everything they got. They're blowing off in the desert in this huge shooting range. And we're there for 40 days. Anyone who spent time in the desert's a beautiful place to sleep, and it's just it was a very nice, incredible time. I had a saw gun, which was belt fed. I was running and jumping with it and sharpshooting with it, and I was having a lot of fun with it, and I was becoming good at it. They would show me off. A colonel would come up and they'd be like, "Hey, check out, this guy right here." And this was like at the peak of my gung-ho mind, brainwashing. And then the final night is a live fire exercise. So I'm in the front row because we're infantry, so we got our 6-foot little grave, dug in, our fighting holes, and thousands of bullets and tons of water, and we're just there for an all-day shooting fest. We're shooting all day long, and then we run out of bullets eventually, but we're stuck in the front row, and we're watching now. We got jets dropping bombs, and helicopters coming in with 50 cal machine guns, and everything's going off all around us. Once it got dark and all the things were going, I saw a blinding white light, explosions going off, and then a blinding light coming in and blinding everything from it. And then I don't remember what happened then. I just remember something happened. I have a sense that something happened, but I have no memory. And then the light phased back out, and then I was back into the end of the evening, time to pack up and go home, kind of thing. And the difference when I came out of that light was I no longer felt. I felt like it was as if I believed a lie that there was such thing as like good guys and bad guys, and that war was genuinely a sense of like protecting and defending your ideals and your families from evil people and stuff like that. And then so then now after the light, I don't believe this. I don't feel this anymore. In fact, it's as if I feel like there's a clear sense that war is all business and staged, and that there is no bad guys. It's all good guys fighting good guys, being used to do some agenda. It's not at all what I signed up for or what I thought it was. And so that was removed. So I guess you could say it was as if the brainwashing was cleared, and I now knew the truth. And then I just knew I had to get out of the Marine Corps, because I knew that it would be terrible if I had to kill someone or die for a war now. And so I went from being probably the most gung-ho guy in my company to being, now I got to get out of here. And then so I went up the chain of command. First I went to my squad leader, who was like a corporal, and I said, hey, that firing exercise we just had, last week, I saw a blinding light, and now I know that this is all bullshit, and I got to talk to someone, because they got to let me go, because I'm not going to be a good Marine anymore. I'm not going to, And I felt like I was doing them an honor. I'm telling you right up now, I'm not going to listen to you anymore. And so instead of having that cause friction, I'm just going to tell you right now, you're going to have to let me go. Otherwise it's going to be a mess. And they didn't hear me. They were saying things like, oh, why don't you just go home and take 2 weeks off, and you think about it and come back in 2 weeks, or what's wrong? And they were genuinely confused, because I was like, just last week they were showing me off, and now they're like, they just weren't hearing anything about lights or war is bad, or it was as if they weren't even hearing it. They were just looking at me blankly, like, well, that doesn't make sense. It can't be that. So what's going on? What's really going on, Reese? You go up corporal and then sergeant, and they keep passing you out. Now in front of the captain. Captain sends me the colonel, and I'm sick of them not hearing me. So I just say, I tell them first. I repeat my story, and then they're just looking at me blankly again. And then I say, okay, we're getting ready to go to Bosnia right now. The unit's getting trained to go into Bosnia, because there was a close, I guess it was during their war or something, and we parked a ship off their coast or something. I say, we're about to go to Bosnia, and I'm your lead saw gunner. And so you're going to have me right in front of your company headquarters, your company CO. And I got nothing against these Bosnian kids. The way I see it, they look just like me. They're probably just like me. They're probably the good guys like me, and they're just stuck in this too because of someone else's business plan or something like that. And so I got nothing against them. In fact, I sympathize with them and empathize with them. And I was like, but you guys are really starting to piss me off. You're not listening to me. I leave it to you, you know. Do you really feel comfortable sitting here, spending all your energy trying to keep me in here so I can just be parked right in front of your tent with a loaded machine gun, to having told you what I just told you, you know? So I didn't really come out and threaten them, which would have been a bad thing to do. It got their attention immediately. At some point in the middle of saying that, I could see their faces flushed with red, anger come into the room. And so now I'm off to the shrink, and they're telling stories to the troops, trying to get me jumped. And luckily, I was popular with my fellow Marines, and so that never came to that. Most people came to my defense. It took about 2 months with a shrink, and the shrink's job was to label me something so that they can get me out. You know, because if they said, you know, Reese came to the conclusion that morally he can't be here, and so we let him go, everyone would be like, you know, I don't belong here either, you know. And so the shrink was really cool. We got along really well, and he, at first he came up with some lame labels for me. Caffeinitis. One day I had a lot of coffee, and I'm all like, and I think I even told him, hey, you know, I quit drinking coffee for one day, and all of a sudden I feel 10 times better. And then so he did some research, and he's like, hey, I just found this, caffeinitis. It's a toxic reaction to caffeine. It'll work. It's considered like a mental disorder. What do you say, caffeinitis? I know, that's kind of lame. I'm not going to go through all this trouble over caffeinitis. So one day I came, and he's like, I got it, Reese. Narcissistic subversive. He's like, narcissist because you love yourself more than God and country, and subversive because you're just spouting off about it to everybody that comes into your contact. I don't think I'm a narcissist, and I don't think I'm a subversive, but you know, as far as a label from the Marine Corps for being psychiatric discharge, I took it. Yeah, I made it out a year and a half sooner than my contract. And I made it, I had a great time because I loved it the whole time. And then the day I stopped loving it, I quit and I got out, you know.